All right, welcome to the Your Coach podcast. And it's been a while, but now we are back and we're back with Kyle Smith and Leanna McLean. Very exciting people to talk to. Kyle is a work colleague. We work together at Athletics Canada. That's where I'm wearing my AC hat. And Kyle and Leanna are runners and parents. And so we're going to talk about that and running, even though if you look at them, you're like, they're not old, but you know, sometimes the body does its thing, and so we're going to talk a bit about that too. So right.
It's funny, we were just eating dinner tonight and they basically just said, "So you're talking about being old and running?" And like it's like, "No, we're just talking about running, but you're old." Like, and then I was like, "No, I'm just not young." And they're like, "You're old."
You're old.
Now, granted, they did say anything over 20 is old, so
Okay. Yeah.
that's okay. There we go.
So they're saying that you look like you're in your early 20s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I don't know if they said that.
No,
I
they
think
didn't
they
say
said
that.
you finally admitted you're old. I think is what they put it.
That's awesome. So I mean, okay, so let's I right off we're gonna go off the script right away because you've been mentioning the kids. So I think, um, like I guess let's start with this because we were also just talking about my kid playing baseball. Like your kids do a lot of different sports. Um, do they do track? Do they run?
So they do run, I'll say. So they participate in track and field, but they don't train, I guess, if that makes sense. And so
Mhm.
there are a few clubs in Halifax, and there are clubs that are so really starting to develop that group that are within their age range. So there's now some options, whereas before there wasn't as many options. But what they we tend to do is they participate in what we call tetraathlons, I guess, here in Nova
Okay,
Scotia.
track along. Yeah.
They do a 60, a 600, a shot put, what's the other event? A
Long
long
jump.
jump.
Mhm.
And they really, really thoroughly enjoy it, I would say.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think like our approach with them in track and in anything they do is like we want to show them like what are all the reasons you want to love your sport. So we show them
Mhm.
the things that like we love about our sport.
Mhm.
And I think the neat thing in watching them do track, and they do lots of different things, and track is really um, probably the thing they do the least. I would say they kind of would do a few events a year type thing, but
Mhm.
they both finished events and they've both expressed just how much they've loved it. Like you hear them talking to their friends, say, I don't know why, but I just love racing or I
Mhm.
love doing triathlons. And so I think, that's really neat, like rewarding thing for us, like watching them participate for sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. We the last one we did, we had a couple days. It was pretty close to Leanna's hometown, and so we spent the night. But then the track it's awesome. It's very accessible. They um, often have the equipment room open with someone there, and so they're just willing to let you kind of use the stuff. So we did get a chance to throw the shot, and they were jumping and stuff like that. So they did get like these little tastes, and now like they've gone for a couple runs with us and stuff like that, and
Cool.
and that's from other things as well, but they've like showed that interest of like wanting to do a little more,
So yeah,
which is
we
good.
do dangle the carrot of we're going to run to the donut shop
Hey,
for that one. Yeah.
yeah, that's good.
And they do come
You didn't
along.
mention how old are the girls?
Yeah, they are. Avery just turned 8, and Riley's 9, but will be 10 in a few weeks. Yeah,
Okay.
and they do come along with us, like when we go to like compete. Yes,
Mhm.
they do come along, and so we often go down to Windsor here in Nova Scotia for races,
Mhm.
and it's like a really like lovely venue, really like call it's like it's your like picture perfect twilight
Mhm.
type.
These are the Phil Hadley ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
it just seems to calm down, like the wind calms down everything,
Mhm.
but
yeah,
they make it so friendly, like
yeah,
they the athletes are like joking around with them and stuff. Well,
Mhm.
uh,
yeah. And the
one of
kids will be running around in the infield,
yeah.
and so
Mhm.
they almost you don't realize that they've become part of the community in that sense, almost expected to be there.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. I think that's what you want, right? Like just have fun, and if you have fun, you want to do it again, and you do it more, and then eventually, like you start to realize, like, oh, like I'm kind of good at this, and you know,
Yeah.
and then you think about like training and stuff later. Do they know? Obviously, they know you're old. Do they? And you've admitted this finally. Do they know about your careers? Like both of you, you know, were at a pretty like international level of competition and stuff. Do they know that, or what do they know of your running past?
I would. I don't know. I don't think so that much. I mean, it's not something we kind of like broadcast or anything. You know, it's stuff where like I'm so pumped and for like what I got to do and where I got to travel and stuff like that. That's always been amazing. But I think they just know that kind of running and athletics and just I guess being active is like just part of what I do. So like going for a running, doing the workouts, like it's just part of it. So I don't know if they knew where we were,
Mm.
you know, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
I,
Um,
it,
I don't, yeah, they don't know, because they don't know like all the, athletic resume for
Mm.
sure. Like they don't know that at all. They, I think, appreciate that we have done races and done well at them, like
Mm.
at times. And um, I mean, we set age class records
Mhm.
this summer, so they know that.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and and I think I mean, they talk about it every now and then. Like they'll ask questions about like, how fast we actually were, or like those types of things.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, like I mean, I did a park run this summer and I won, and so I came back and they're like, "Did you win?" And I was like, "Yeah," which is
that's the
funny.
question you get, right? That's
Yeah,
just the only. It doesn't matter. Like
yeah,
that's to them.
yeah.
You
Did you
made.
win? No. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not? Yeah, yeah. But you can't flip that on them. You're like, "Did you win? Why didn't you win?" No, they don't.
Yeah, it's funny
Doesn't
how
mean
that's
anything.
still, no matter what, it's the first question. I don't know
Yeah.
if we instill it or it's just the natural side
Mhm.
of everybody. That's always seems to be the like first thing people try to ask.
Yeah. So what are some challenges of running with a family? Like there's two of you and you know you want to get out for runs, there's two of them and they've got stuff. And how do you manage to keep because you I mean Leanna just mentioned some age class records, so obviously you're still training and doing pretty well. We'll get to that, but like how do you fit it in with the family?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a challenge. Timing is tough. We got, our kids. They're in hockey right now, and hockey is what it's like everywhere in the country. It just eats up a lot of time. Plus, it's just the travel, and they're
Mhm.
in female hockey, which it's just less teams. So then it just seems like it's more travel. So even
Mhm.
like just all the divisions are just lower or like more travel to get to these places and um, so that makes a big thing and with both of them there they're not on the same age group and they're not on the same team so it's can be separate so a lot of it is challenging the time is challenging the like
Yeah.
balancing of that has been very challenging.
Yeah, I'd say the other significant logistics around
Yeah.
it, and it's often the like who gets to the time slot first. So it's like I'll call 9. I see that it's open, and so we're really like flying by the seat of our pants, like in that sense. And so it's like day by day, like what's going on that day. I think the other thing though is actually being an older athlete. Like there's lots of days. Like I just don't get out for a run. I think you're the same. But being an older athlete, I think we don't stress about it. Like we get out when we get out, and we're consistent. Like it might be often just get out 3 days a week, but it's that consistently 3 days a week, and we're trying to do the um, workouts that really feel right for ourselves. And so I think like doing those pieces is kind of um, enough to get us to a point where we're like um, happy to be at, I guess, if that makes sense, where we could kind of just step in a race if we decided to on any given Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is that like we if one's going outside, one we have a treadmill, one goes on the treadmill kind of thing for those kind of days. So, maybe it's early morning, maybe it's later on at night. So that's kind of a balance point as well. Is just, you both don't get the luxury sometimes of being outside, even though it's 25 degrees out. It'd be nice
Yeah.
to not be on a treadmill, but that is what it is when you got
Mhm.
to leave within the time frame. So I think it's just not stressing about it too much, and
Mhm.
you get it in, you will get it in, and I guess you're a little more recovered, and so you kind of you kind of modify those workouts based on that extra one. And I mean, it's also been, I've said it, like it's a bit of our date night if we've like gone to a meet and like the grandparents are watching them. Like that's just our, or
Yeah.
like we'll go for a together run when that happens, right? Like you
Yeah.
can kind of sometimes you get lucky on that, or if like the double birthday party,
Yeah.
things like that.
Great.
Then you just kind of like it's you take those times and
Yeah.
that's your time.
Mhm.
Yeah. Kyle's mom has been here for the past week, and
Oh,
we've
good.
been on vacation, so it's training camp.
Yeah.
Babysitter and
Yeah.
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. Well, Kyle's been texting me his progression runs and everything, so I
See?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
get the update. It's
Yeah.
good. So yeah, Kyle, you're a gym teacher. Um, so I mean, your job is pretty, moving around and stuff. Like, do you feel like that has an impact? Like, are you feel kind of like worn out sometimes at the end of the day because you basically like playing games all day?
Yeah, definitely tired. I mean, like it is go the whole time. But I kind of find other things. Like I do at lunches, we do like a lift club with like the adults there. So some of the staff will do like lifting with me. So then that kind of
Oh,
fits that part in, which is nice. So
hmm,
it's kind of frees up a different point. Or I'll able to like maybe lift a little bit early in the morning and then kind of do a little bit more with and kind of balance it that way. We do like staff intramurals and stuff like that. So I kind of like get the extra movements through that. Um, yeah, like I am tired, but you just find right. Like
no. You got a lot of energy
we're all
though.
tired, so you just kind of find it. You just find like I want to get out. If I have these goals, like you just maybe it's a slow jog then that day, and that's not the workout day.
Hmm.
But then on the other side, like
Hmm.
if that's my day, if we've made that time up and that's my day. Well, that's my day.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna just have to dig deep and
Yeah.
do what I can at that point, within
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. Leanna, your job is you work at the hospital, right? Tell us a bit about what you do and
yeah.
how that impacts things.
I, my position is a clinical engineering director for Nova Scotia Health.
Mhm.
And so the job, and I've been, I guess, supporting various acting roles in the senior leadership capacity for the last year and a half. So the job is certainly demanding, I'd say.
Mhm.
So it's, lots of pressures and whatnot. And I would say I'm more like mentally exhausted at the end of the day for sure, because I do this all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
and um, and certainly there's days that I leave work and I'm like, I don't got it today. Like
Yeah.
it's not today.
Mhm.
And there are days when I leave work and I say I don't got it today, and I do go out and I get out and get my run or my workout in,
Mhm.
and it turns out to be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
That always works. I would say that um, running really helps me in my job, whereas I think the job doesn't necessarily help the running necessarily, but the running certainly helps me at work. So I'm definitely more, um, resilient and kind of managing day to day pressures at work when I'm like running consistently.
Mhm.
Uh, benefits me on that side as well.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like it's always kind of like, you just feel a bit better and just like more in your skin when you get to get some runs in. So let's go like, okay, we talked about the kids, talked about work, but like back to the start and your kind of careers, like when and why did you start running? How did you get into it?
You want me to go first on that one?
Sure. Yeah.
um, When so I would say I've been running for as long as I remember.
Mhm.
Really, I'd say my first races I remember was against my brothers around my house. So they would go one direction, I would go the other, and whoever got back to the starting point won. And I think they've never beaten me. So I've never lost. And they've gone on to be they played hockey. when they're kids and throughout their early adult years. I think they still play hockey actually, but so they haven't run since as
And
well. So I went up there. I think like and maybe from there, like what there was when I was younger, like I grew up in a small town. We only had gravel tracks, none of which were actually 400 meters. And we would do races like just in the summertime. So there would be kind of a variety of races that happened in the summer. And it was always the point of the year that I really looked forward to, which when I think about it was like only in May and there was only a couple events and I really looked forward to it every year. And so when I got to a point where I wanted to train a bit more, there was, it certainly had like a variety of coaches along the way that were really instrumental in providing opportunities, I'd say, for me to have access to training. And so the first one was really like in the school gym. We trained in our school gym, like going back and forth. And Anderson Paris and Carol Paris were like key, um, really key in making that happen. And I think like as I, um, progressed, it was, really just like that one opportunity kind of after the next, I guess, in terms of like looking for, something a bit more from a training perspective. But it was always very much focused around like that period of the year. So we really didn't do a lot of year-round training. The like the why, I think. I would say when I was again younger, like growing up in a small town, there wasn't a ton of like sports that you could do, and especially when I was quite young. And my brothers both played hockey, and I really was always looking for that competitive outlet, I would say. And my parents would put me in dance and piano, and I enjoyed it, but I never practiced, and I never competed, and I always dropped out like that type of thing. But with track and field, it was, an opportunity to go out there and be competitive. And I really enjoyed like that part of it. So I'd say that was a lot of the why I really started and got into it. So it's not the why of why I continue to enjoy it. But it certainly is what, made me, grab onto it and keep kind of chasing the next steps.
Uh, yeah, it was kind of friends for me. Just my first time I got into it was probably grade 5, running, grade 6, like that idea. I'd moved to a new school, and so yeah, grade 5 I moved there, and cross country was the first thing. So just make it's a group of people that go out, and that idea, and then I was okay at it, and then that kind of helped. It just one of those things, you're kind of good at it, and then kids start talking to you, and you just start to be buds, and then that idea. And then I'd say same thing in high school, grade 9. It was there was a team. It was cross country, and I'm not big enough to play football, so I joined cross. It just seemed like a thing to after doing it a little bit in elementary and um, different experience. The facilities we had. I grew up in Toronto and Scarborough, and we had a track right there. We had some hills all around, and my high school coach turned out to be my club coach, who is a very good coach throughout. The kind of
Bill, we can name drop Bill.
yeah, yeah, Bill Stevens. The development coach. Like he's done a lot of good stuff. He got he's and so he just kind of hooked me through, and those friends helped out, and then you just bond together, and you just end up like we had said, you enjoy it, so you just start working harder, and working harder leads to paying off. And the races came, and there's lots of races in Toronto, so that's kind of how I got it. Yeah, the why would have been friends to start, and then obviously you enjoy the friends, you enjoy pushing your body to where you don't think it can go, and it is really nice to win. Like, all those things. Like I think I was chasing that always as well, that I really liked to be the best, or at least the best I could be. And yeah, I would say that's what kind of got me into it. and that would be my why of why I kind of got into it.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I think that, yeah, that really it resonates a lot. I think the friends thing, like,
Yeah.
that sort of happens first, and then, and then you sort of get and like you hear about it and whatever. And like, and the competition is, yeah, sometimes I think with the kids, like we downplay the competition, but like kids know, right? Like you say, like you're, racing with your brothers around the house, like that's competition. Like kids want to compete, right? So it's a cool natural thing to compete at running. You compete, and then it's there, and it's not like there are winners and losers like there are in life, and it's okay. Like you're gonna lose a race, and then you realize like, well, that's okay. Like, I'd rather win, so next time I'll try to win, but like it's not the end of the world if you lose either. And you kind of learn that lesson.
And they start training though. That's the thing, like if you kind of want, oh, I kind of want to win next time. Well, then the work starts coming. Okay, I got to
Yeah.
do. All right, catch
Oh,
up.
no, I was gonna say, as long as you're not losing to your brothers.
Right. Yes, exactly. So what do you think is like kind of your training question? Like, what do you think runners need to do to get good at running, to run fast? What's your advice?
Consistency. That's
Mm.
it's very easy. So I think, I mean, at any age, but I feel like definitely once kind of your obligations kick in, the jobs, the kids now, things like that, where consistency just it's very easy to find a reason not to run, whether it be tired or no time, things like that. So to make sure that you kind of get this consistency and you just keep building through it. I'd say that's been huge, is just not having those big gaps in between and just staying consistent. Yeah, like,
Yeah. And I would, I mean, there's so many
yeah,
different things around, like, um, and the question, sorry, is like, what are ways to run fast or to get
Yeah,
good at running?
what do runners need to do to run fast?
Yeah. Um, and I think a lot of it really depends, like, since we're talking about age, not, really depends on, like, where you're at and what your goals are. I would say, and so the things that we would do to run fast are going to be really different than the things that our kids maybe are going to do to run fast. But I think, like Kyle said, like the consistency is number one, and so right behind consistency is don't get injured.
mhm,
So you don't want to not be consistent, and so I think like. For us, like being masters athletes, it's really that's important. Like the injuries are gonna take you out, and so it's really listening to your body and making the right decisions around that. And so if you need to skip the workout, do half the workout, those types of things, I think are really um, important decisions around like making sure you're being consistent. But then on top of that, like um, it's putting all the pieces together, I would say. So it's um, like, are you running at race pace? Are you running some stuff faster than race pace? Um, I'd say the things that we do a lot more now that we didn't maybe do as I wouldn't say it, we did some of it, but like we do a lot of time just running at, and I'm gonna get out the like go wrongs, but like running like more at like threshold, so like longer, like lots of longer repeats. So we really focus on getting like a good base in, and maybe that's because like if we do longer repeats, we're going to spend more time outside and we get more time to ourselves. Like maybe there's motivation there, but I think getting that foundation built lets you pivot a bit as well, so it can let you jump in a 10K, or you can tune up and run an 800 like type of thing. But um,
yeah, I agree. That has been huge. I also then make sure I do the other end. So I really like the speed side, whether that's hill sprints, just fast twos, like getting on the track and doing stuff. I think getting those both ends, and then with that, yeah, I hills in my kind of that threshold zone have been my big two pieces that have kind of then I can close the gap a little bit more, and kind of do the other stuff depending on what that race I'm doing, whether we're doing a mile race or an 800 race or a 10K or 5K, stuff like that. You can kind of play, but if you kind of got your fast stuff there and you've got your strength, to make sure you can sustain these efforts, I think that's huge. And then I've now really enjoyed, and I've kind of said in the beginning, I like lifting, and I do that, and it varies. I put Olympic lifts in there, I do plyos in there, and it kind of varies, and it's of kind of how I put them in, and that also comes on the days, and sometimes it's just kettlebells and dumbbells. But I did recently buy like a whole bar and a little platform with so we can do some Olympic lifting and it's in there, and I really enjoy that. Just that other side of things, and I've been feeling a lot better. Like my comes with the consistency. My injuries aren't there near as much. So I would say, yeah, those are the pieces I think that have worked for
Yeah.
us.
And I think it's a really good point. I think the one thing, kind of jumping back, the one thing that we both do, um, that maybe is different than some of the other runners, like generally in the community that are, I mean, other runners are focused on longer stuff, but like what we do is like get down into pace. We do spend time like trying to work on speed, and that can certainly take time. I would say, like, it's not like you go out and you run fast one day. It's we go out and like time ourselves on a 100-meter stride and say, oh, we got some work to do, and it can take a few months to get down into that speed. But I think that's one thing that the two of us do focus on is like, how can we make sure we're incorporating speed into it.
Yeah. Okay, 5 second hill, 5, 10, 15
Mm.
kind of things, like repeats of those. Like that's as little as 5 seconds up a hill. Like that's, and I just go to, sometimes I time it. It's like, this is 5 seconds and it just beeps. And I just think there, and one of them is like, it's signs, just get to
Yeah.
these 3 signs, in
Yeah.
this idea, like and then just run as hard as I can, not really worry about time, just
Mhm.
effort.
Yeah, that's a good. I really like that one. That's a favorite workout of mine, the 5, 10, 15-second hills.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. So interesting, like, so you're both sort of in your, peak career, both 800-meter runners. And then Kyle, now you this summer did some 400s, 200s on the track. Leanna, you were doing some like 5Ks. So what made you decide to kind of come back to kind of doing races actually, and why did you pick kind of the directions that you've gone in?
Me?
Like, whose turn it is it?
You go first. Yeah.
Um, oh gosh, I would say um, after we had kids, there was certainly a period of time where we weren't, or at least I wasn't doing a lot of consistent running, but I would wake up every day hoping that today was the day that I was going to start doing consistent running again. And I'd say what really, or like during this time, I did find it really difficult on like, what's that goal that's exciting enough, that's going to get me out the door and get me running, but it's still realistic, something that's ambitious but attainable. And a couple years ago, um, the CNFX cross country team was looking to put together a team to compete at the Cabot Trail Relay. And so, and they didn't have enough runners, and they'd sent a note over to um, Gina McGinnis to say, hey, is there anybody from like your area running at St. FX who might be interested? And Gina sent me a note and said, hey, we're putting a team together. We're looking at getting the record for the Cabot Trail Relay. Would you be interested? And at that point, I'd been barely running. Like been, it could go weeks without a run, but I was starting to get back into it. And so I sent her a note back. I was like, you had me at record. Like, I am in. You had me at record. We will do this. And, and to me, it was a couch to Cabot Trail Relay type thing in 4 months. And I definitely had
We need like a training montage here, Leanna, getting out and
Yeah.
grinding.
Snow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Snow
Yeah.
mountain.
It was very, Rocky style. And I definitely, like, in that, I was like, I had key workouts where it's like, if I can't do because they had a pace that they were I think everybody had to break like 4 minutes and 10 seconds average pace. So it was like, if I can do 2 by 10 minutes and 4 minutes and 10 seconds. And I don't remember when it was, like in February. I was like, I'll be fine. I think I can get myself kind of like, up to the 15 or 17K or whatever it was. And so anyway, like kind of a long story there, but that's really what I would say brought me back to it. We didn't get the record, or said we did get the record, but we were beaten. So we were second place with the record in there, but a fantastic team and fun to get back. And my old running partner when I was at Cinevac, so Aaron Coates, is here in Halifax, since we did a lot of training together, and I think that was another really key thing, just to have a good training buddy to get out with. And now I would say it's like, now that we're kind of like back in the groove, we don't want to let it go, or at least that's what I feel. So we don't want to let it go. So now we're kind of always like, okay, what is that next thing that we could jump into? And I'd say we're also, or at least I feel, very opportunistic. So if someone says, hey, do you want to do a runners relay, or do you want to jump in this 800 meters?
She's waiting for the marathon bib for Toronto, by the way. Right. So just plug that in here if anyone's hearing that.
Well, so here's a little preview. My next guest is Charlotte Brooks.
Oh, here we go.
So if there's someone who can get you in,
looking for a half or a full.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
This one. I wasn't pointing up together.
No, not you.
We come as a team.
We could come as a team.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll leave it off to you, sorry.
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, from that, it was peer pressure. She kind of chirped me a bunch. Like, I was doing runs and I like to do hills. Like, that was, and lift. I was just doing those. I was kind of just running and changing paces in my run. And I was doing hills last year. Like, that's kind of how it started. And Leanna kind of just made fun of me a bit and kind of chirped me a bit. And then I kind of was like, all right, I'll do some, I was doing speed, and then track season came with the elementary school. I started to, at the end of the day, just staying and doing a little track workout. I was like, I want to spike up. This is fun. And, I'd spike up and do some whatever 50s and 80s and stuff like that. And then I would do a 200, just why not? And then we had 3 different meets. And so I was able to do it 3 times, and each one got faster. So then I started racing. I was like, okay, I'm going to do a real one. And that's kind of how it started last year. But I had zero interest in doing 800s. Like at any point, that was kind of like our race. I had no interest doing that.
Not anymore.
Paul had asked us to run a distance race. That was fine last year. And then fast forward to this year, I had, indoors, Matt Winkler, he's a 800 guy, right? Just Masters guy now. He was talking about break and stuff. And then I had a teammate from my school when I went to university. He started posting kind of workouts, and I was like, I can beat that. Like, it was just ego or whatever. I was like, I can beat that. And then I think he had done a 400 and a 500. And then, I tried to race and try to just in a workout, and I just kind of did it, and they were kind of quick. And turns out Paula Jane, or Phil Hadley was, the races out there, these, the crown jewel races, had an 800 in there. And so I got to turn around to Leanna this time and go, we should do this. I'll sign up if you sign up. And then we kind of stepped on the line and tried an 8 this year, which I honestly, I was like, I'll never do it again. Like, I didn't think I'd ever race it again. It was too close to home. But
well, it's a good question. Like, how do you feel about running? Like, what did you end up running? Like 150?
140. Oh, you mean
this time?
156, yeah.
Yeah. And so, how does that feel when you run like a 147?
It was a stinger, in a way, but at the same time, you're like, I didn't put any of that kind of work in. Like, I'm not doubling, things like that, right? Like, the recovery is not there. Like, I worked all day, and my kids, I'm driving them to hockey, like all this stuff. You just, you're cramming in workouts. I think there was like 0 workout, the lactic workouts, minimal stuff that I was doing. So, I mean, relatively there, I think you just, how people, talking to talking to masters athletes, they're like, it's just relative. You just got to accept it and just push as hard as you can. And yeah, I mean, the community when we went there was a lot of fun. Like they were all super supportive, all having fun with it. Um, and I mean, no one like they don't really know what you've only you know what you've done. Like
Yeah, yeah, you're not that special, really, Kyle, right? Nobody knows
yeah,
who you
like no, I know it's
are.
like you get mad like oh, I'm nowhere near, but it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I would say
calm down, Kyle. Like,
Calm down.
he's like, I'm coming back next year.
yeah, just wait.
Sub 150.
Yeah, and I would say that my that call did drag me into running some 800s as well, and I would say when you show up, it's like I don't know, like really honestly don't know. Am I going to run at 2:30 or am I going to run like a 2:15? And so 2:15 is what I was able to run, and so I think like and similar like to Kyle, like my fastest time was 2:03, and yours is 1:46.
Yeah.
Um, and so you're like way off in that sense, but I'm still so happy it's on the faster end of what I thought it was going to be, if that makes sense. And so I think like we both came away from it, being really happy and excited about the runs. I'd say even though they're certainly slower than what we've run in the past, but I think it's you're like we never thought we could do that again. So you're like one that's really cool. And then you're like, what could we do? Like, what if we actually
If you put the work
coordinated
in.
and like weren't fighting for hey, I got the prime time for my workout, and we figured out how do we get more than 3 runs in a week. Like, I think that's exciting too, and it's and not that we're like, hey, what could we beat our times? It's like, what could I do at 40, or what could I do at 45? What can I do 50 and going onward? So I think um, that makes it exciting as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that was sort of where I wanted to go next, and you already maybe teased it a little bit. Like, what's the next sort of big thing? Like, do you want to do a marathon? Is that really a thing? Or I feel like everybody says that, or that's sort of like there's a lot of pressure, I guess, to do that. Do you feel that pressure, or do you like really want to? Or Kyle's like, no,
I don't feel marathon pressure at all.
none, no.
If I can have the time to really train for a marathon, I think I'd rather do a 10 or a half and try to get them really fast. I
Yeah.
think that would be a little more fun. But that's me. I don't know. I've been having fun on the track, but like we're gonna go out and do this Run Runners relay again, which is like a day relay, kind of Halifax to Lunenburg. And there's like it's shorter distance, but anyways, like those are the I don't know. I think half and under, half to the track is kind of where I want to be right now.
Yeah.
But time, like distant timing, like I don't know. Like there's it's fun. It's fun to break records. It's fun to chase those records. All that stuff. Like it is fun. Like the master side does. Tracking all these records. It is fun to kind of go for. And you only have so long. That's the kind of cool thing. It's like you only have this short window to chase this age group record, and so it's kind of fun in that side of things too. So I don't know. It's I'm having fun again with track, which is nice to have. I
Yeah.
was not like I had removed myself and I was just liking running, and now I'm liking competing again, which has been cool. It's a cool experience. It's like a very I don't know circle thing right now going. Like it's full
Yeah, for
circle,
sure.
whatever. It's been a really cool thing to kind of come back and go. This is fun, and
Yeah. So I would say yes, I do want to do a marathon at some point. I've been trying to convince Kyle to do one with me. So there's that. I also feel like with a marathon, I from a pressure perspective, like I'd like to do one sooner rather than later. Like I don't want to be like wondering how would have I done in a marathon in this age category, that type of thing. So do have that, but then it is um, the recovery I find just in races is like I require a lot more of it. So even doing I jumped in a 5K this past May, and so even just to recover from those types of things, I feel like takes a lot more time. So the balance, trying to figure out what the to strike, I guess, essentially is like, what's the right time to do a marathon, but then, still actually be able to get on the track in the summer, right? And to not lose that ability to jump into those shorter races. So I think that's, something that we're looking at, or sorry, something that I'm looking at trying to figure out from like a really like longevity perspective. What are like the goals really that are out there? I think I can't remember if I've said this to you before. I've said it to a few different people. I want to be, one of the 90-year-olds that are like lining up at Penn relays, like running the 100 meters. I think that's like the ultimate goal, like for track. You're 90 and you're running the 100 meters at Penn relay. So I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, be like Ed.
Yeah, that's a good goal for sure, for sure. Yeah,
Um,
like the Bruce Brown who I coach, and he's a 78 now, I guess, or something like that. But so he's taken a really interesting like kind of plan where he's actually like talk about recovery, like he's in a recovery year right now. So he's
Oh,
running like he goes for pretty big runs, like an hour 20, but just like 2, 3 times a week, that's it. And he's doing that. And then his goal is to be 80 and then actually train for a marathon and break some records as an 80-year-old in the marathon, which
get
I
the
think,
get the work in now, like a little bit. Get that like training it, like the baseline.
but just like he's just keeping a hand in, and just making sure he gets to 80, I think,
Yeah,
and isn't injured and stuff like that. So we didn't really talk about that, but like, what I guess, I mean, Kyle, you mentioned not being injured, which is great. I don't know, Leanna, if you've had any injuries, but like even not injuries, but just like it feels like when you get older and you're running, there's just more of these like, random aches and pains and stuff. And um, how do you deal with that when, it's like, do you feel like you have to, does it worry you more, or do you like kind of know that it's just an ache and pain, you can run through it? How do you deal with those sorts of things that come with aging?
lucky from an injury perspective. So, like, I don't think we've had any really major injuries that have taken us out for any like
or
length
like
of time.
yeah, there's no like months things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've certainly been very lucky from that perspective. I think like right now, like I do like prioritize like physio massage, and so certainly like this spring I actually had a period of time at work that was quite busy and did take me away from training a lot. And so I felt like in the spring I had a lot of catching up to do because I was running the Cabot Trail again. And, I had a 5K at the Project Marathon weekend that I competed in. And I, went like once every 2 weeks, like in for massage, that type of thing. And that was really, I would say, like key to being able to stay on top of, um, being able to get workouts in for sure. Yeah, so and I think anything from a recovery perspective. I think the other thing, the other thing I feel like makes a really big difference, especially when you're older, is like good healthy eating. Like makes a really big difference. So like hydration, paying attention to getting in like all the right foods, like enough like fuel and those types of things. I think makes a really big difference as well.
Yeah, I
Makes
agree.
sense. Yeah, just gotta all the peripheral stuff, I guess. We gotta
Yeah.
keep.
Yeah, especially because you need to make up for the lack of sleep, like we experience. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, cool. Well, this has been great. I really appreciate, the time, and I know that time is, you guys could have gone for a run. So I appreciate that you're gonna sit and talk about running instead of going for a run just for this one time. But no, it's been great to chat, and I hope that people, kind of hear what you have to say and sort of see themselves, and or see that like it's possible to, get out there and have some goals and do some stuff. Just got to work together as a couple, I guess, and plan things out. And I mean, I guess another maybe one last question, like I guess you don't have the experience of not having this, but how is it, sort of your partner being a runner as well, and kind of having that understanding, that must be helpful also.
It does help. Like, I think we both value movement and fitness regardless. So, I mean, if Leanna tried, she wanted to go cycling instead, like that, it's just, we know it's got to be part of it. And,
Mhm.
like you got to devote your time, but also like our kids know now, like, you know, I guess you get it more like, mommy, where are you going? They get those times and it's like, I'm just going for a run. And
Mhm.
they understand that it's just part of,
Mhm.
like, they get their stuff, but we also. So I think you got to show like it's it's important to us for
Mhm.
us to get our, we need this as well
Mhm.
to be healthy, and for them and for us, and that side of things. So it really is like they understand that, but yeah, from a partner side, absolutely. Like I know she needs it, and from like a mental health side of things, she needs it. Coming from a busy day at work and a hectic day,
We
Mhm.
and
both
we both do
need it.
Mhm.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I get it. Mine's just a birthday party every 30 minutes with the kids, but no, like it does help having each other, and knowing that we want to both prioritize this to an extent. So yeah.
And it's like when you come home from workout and you just want to brag to somebody about it, be like, hey, look what I did.
Yeah, yeah,
I know he gets it.
yeah. Yeah. No, for sure, for sure. That's true. That's very true. Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much. And I'll, let you get back to your free evening, I guess, or maybe you probably have to run and get the girls at hockey now. But anyway, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having
Thank
us. This is
you.
cool.
All right.